Okay, I want to show you guys the right way and the wrong way to put an axe head in. So I have this axe that is in bad shape. I needed a new handle, so here's the axe head. And I put it on here and marked it. I had an old woodsman years ago show me how to do this, and I stick to it pretty faithfully. So here's what a really bad job looks like. Somebody just took an axe, bought a new handle, and they just stuck it on there. So that should have been put way down here on the shoulder. It's not easy to do. You gotta take a grinder, or in this case I'm going to use my hoof rasp to shape that down and get that down to where the axe head will go all the way down on that shoulder, and then you can cut this top part off. But it'll never last very long. It'll never work very nice if you don't put it on there right. If you put it on there right, treat it right, it'll last for years and years. So I took my drill there, DeWalt drill, and I drilled the old wood out of the axe head. And my next thing is to spend about 30 minutes with my hoof rasp shaping this down to where that axe head will go down on there nice, and I'll show you that once I get to that point. Okay, so here's where I'm at now. You can see what it looks like. If you don't have a hoof rasp, you could use a wood rasp, or a little grinder. It'd probably go quicker. But here's the thing: if you got a friend that's a horseshoer, just ask them for one of their worn-out rasps, because these rasps only last about. I swap out my rasp about every 20 or 30 horses, so they don't last that long. But they're fabulous wood rasp. They're better than a wood rasp because they have that nice smooth side on them that you can do this kind of work with. But that's taken me about 10 or 15 minutes to get it to look like that. And I'm guessing it's still a little bit going to be too tight, but here's the thing. You get an axe head like that, it's impossible to fix, because you can't get the head off without drilling it out. So you about have to live with it like that until you get lucky and bust it off, and you can go ahead and buy a new handle, but you don't really have to want to do that either. So yeah, anybody that puts a wooden handle in an axe like that don't know what they're doing. What I'm gonna do here is, see that split there? I'm gonna cut that down a little bit further with probably a handsaw. I might stick it in a vise. So I'll show you that before I start putting this head on. You want to have it down so that the head doesn't go on real hard. You want it going nice and tight, but if you have to fight it to get it down on there, and I just used a magic marker and scribed the head so that I could get the right curve in there like that. I don't have it perfect, but it'll look really good when I get it on there, and it'll last a long time. Then when I get done, I'll treat it with linseed oil, and hopefully my great-grandchildren will be splitting wood with this many years after I'm gone. Here's what I wanted to show you. This little thing here, I'm using to measure this. If I slide it down in here to the bottom, it's tight. I've got it so adjusted perfect so it's tight. I come up here to the top. Look at this. I've got about a 1/16 of an inch of play there. So a lot of people are under the impression that an axe head inside of an axe head is just straight. It's not. One more thing is, you don't want to start putting this axe head on there until you're pretty sure you're close. Because if you get this thing halfway on and it gets tight, it's really hard to get back off. So you don't want it to just slip on there. You want to be able to drive it on there. And I'll show you how to do that. I'll take it out to my shoeing anvil and I'll show you how I get them down on the shoulder. But if you start too quick with it, you'll be sorry, because you'll have it halfway on there, and all of a sudden you realize it's not going to go, and now you're kind of got down to trying to beat it back off. So take your time and make sure you're really close. Okay, one thing I wanted to tell you about an axe head too is an axe head on the inside right here is is about 1/16 of an inch smaller than it is on this side. And that's so that once you put this axe head down on here and you put your wedge in, it should stay on. You don't want that thing flying off when you're in hunting camp and 20 miles from the nearest trailhead and flying off and hitting somebody. That'd be pretty bad. So that's the idea, is this over here is bigger. So you get that down on there. So I just measured it to with this little apparatus right here, and it's 1/16 of an inch bigger on this side than it is on this side. So I can't hold it with one hand and show you that, but anyway, so I've got this pretty close now to where it's ready to start on there. See how I made that split a little bit longer. Once I get it down on the shoulder, it'll give me room to put a little wedge in there, wooden wedge, before I put my metal wedges in. And this is time consuming. I'll have probably, by the time I get all done finishing it, I'll have an hour in it. But anything worth doing is that way. It takes time to do it right. Alrighty. Okay, I'm going to try to show you how to put this on here. Got my shoeing handle there. Got the axe head. I got the axe. Start this here like this. So I can already see that I need to take some more wood off. You can see that little peeling there, both sides. So I haven't gone on there very far. I'm only on about 1/2 inch, so I'm going to tap it back off there and go take a little bit more wood off. Be right back. Getting there. That's about right for tight, I think. I'm getting some wood peeled there, but you sure don't want to go in there too loose. I'll go and grind that out of there right before I'm all the way down, and it'll work out just right. You want to be careful about just bashing and smashing, because you can break the end of your axe handle pretty easy. The other way to do it is to take a mallet. Some people do that. They'll hit the end of it like that, grab it in. That works too. This is how I do it. Seems to work okay for me. I'll show you this in a minute. Okay, so I just took my knife and I trimmed those peelings off there. I'm going to drive it on about another 1/8 of an inch. And then I want to show you one more thing. You see how that axe handle now is wider than my axe? This was a pretty hefty axe handle to start with. It's a little overbuilt, so I got that to deal with. I got to get rid of that, because if you split to a piece of firewood, that's going to hit. When your axe goes through, that's wider than the axe, so you're going to end up buggering up the side of your handle. So I'll just flatten that out. I'm going to cut this off here, and it'll be a good fit then. Now I've got this wooden wedge. I'm going to put this in that crack right there, drive it in as far as it'll go, saw it off even, and I've got these two little metal wedges I'll put in there for insurance, and we should be good. Okay, I sanded off this, rasp off this big ugly shoulder here. Put my wooden wedge in the middle, metal wedge on each end. And some guys might disagree with me. Some people put these metal wedges in at a 45. I don't do that because I hate doing anything that splits the grain of the wood on the end. I don't know if I'm right or wrong about that, but this is how I do it. Somebody gave me this axe for a wedding present about 45 years ago, and I think this is about the second handle I put in it. Hopefully 45 years from now this thing will still be chopping somebody's wood. I painted the axe head a couple times since then for whatever reason, I guess. I liked the way it looked. Anyway, that's how you put in an axe head. That's how it ought to look when you're done. Anyway, I'm going to tell you something here that probably borderlines on being a serious dad joke. A really corny one too, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. You can take it, I can tell it. Do you remember in the Buck's Little House on the Prairie? I think it's probably the one called Farmer Boy, where Almanzo Wilder was a boy and Almanzo had to go to school, and they had show and tell. And you all know that the 5th book in the New Testament is called Acts of the Apostles, right? Well, he came to school and he brought an axe, and he had stuck an apple on there like that. So when it was his turn to go up front, he went up there with his axe and the apple on there and held it up, and people were supposed to guess what it was, and nobody could guess. They tried and tried. Finally, he had to tell them, it's Acts of the Apostles.